We have forever, so we got lost in each other 'cause time wasn't.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Barry Dahl, Senior Community Manager, D2L, and Dr. Jaclyn Broadbent, Associate Head of School, Teaching and Learning, Deakin University.
G'day everyone.
Good afternoon, everyone. So you're probably wondering, when you look up there or there, who are these two people? I think once we saw the picture and we did a little rehearsal here, I thought, you know, since those pictures were taken, our hair colors have kind of been moving right in the same direction. For very different reasons, but moving. And then my boss yesterday, she, right before the social event, she says, "So, are you wearing white to the social event?" She goes, "Besides your hair?"
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, she's sitting right here. I know, that's kind of tough. So, Jackie, all right, you have quite a title. Run that by me. What's it?
Yeah, no, it's way more fancy than it actually deserves to be. But at heart, the most important thing that I do is be a teacher. When I'm not teaching, I'm helping other teachers, and I'm lucky enough to even get time to do research in the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning. So because I am a teacher, I hope you'll bear with me. We'll do a little think, pair, share activity with the person next to you. So what I would like you to do is turn to the person next to you and talk to them about the last time you learnt to do something new. So I want you to tell your partner what you learnt to do and how you went about learning it.
All right, we're going to give you a minute. Get to work. Huh? All right, we're going to bring you back to the conversation here, if you're finished sharing.
Hey, I love that they're sharing so much.
I
It's
do
excellent.
too. So, who would like to share either what you were talking about yourself or what your partner was talking about? Or get somebody to share what you learned and how you learned it. Who would like to do that? Serb? If you can come right over here in the second row. She was the first hand I could see. I can't see all the hands, sorry. And who are you? Where are you from?
My name is Lisa Jakubowski. I'm from the Dream Center, and I'm a systems analyst.
Great.
And I got voted to do this. I just, I guess it's because it's not unusual. I actually got certified as a mediumship. So I got my mediumship certification to talk to the dead.
Wow.
Oh, how did you go about learning how to do that?
Did not see that one coming.
I know. I really did not.
They didn't either. I stayed very quiet at work. Yeah.
Well, now maybe you said it, but I didn't hear it because I stopped listening at some point there. How did you learn that?
So we all have natural abilities, and I've been doing it since I was a kid. And I went to a group one night, and I wasn't really sure if I was supposed to be there, and I ended up having to get up and read somebody, and literally the girl didn't think I was accurate, and she went home and talked to her mom, and found out that I had communicated with her great-grandmother, and I got all the way down to her accuracy of her name.
Wow. Okay, so there's a group of us going to the brewery tonight. I don't know if you want to go, but wow.
So really, it was like learning through practice, which is obviously one of the, I think lots of people probably talked about that. Did anyone say YouTube, Google? Yeah, we got some YouTube. I'm like a big YouTuber where I can't figure out how to do something like change a washer or something, I YouTube it. Or you might have asked a friend or practiced or just done through actually doing it. So hands up, who had a partner that said to them, oh, when I want to learn something, I go to this lecture hall with like 500 other students in it, and it's probably at a time and a location that's really not that convenient to me, and I sit there and that's how I learn how to do that particular thing. Did anyone's partner say that was their like first way of learning?
Huh.
And this really ties back to something that John said yesterday about with today's jobs, we're using yesterday's tools and yesterday's concepts, and we really need to start thinking about how we can approach education differently. And I think, personalization and humanization really needs to be the center of that. One thing that we're doing at Deakin is cloud first. We actually design our curriculum for online first, and then we work out what to do with people in the face-to-face classroom. And that's kind of flipping it from what we traditionally do.
Great.
So, I was feeling pretty anxious about this presentation.
Well, me too.
Especially after Alex and George yesterday. I mean, how amazing were those guys? I know, they were really good.
All right. Now, we better give them the D2L clap. Are you ready? All right.
So, if you remember the YouTube clip they showed of the guy with the baseball and the kid, I was that guy going like this. Oh no, like we have to be on after these two, inspiring people. Not only were they inspiring, they made me laugh a lot, and I was this close to actually crying, and they did that all in 1 hour. So I was terrified. And then I thought, we're going to be the only people in between that lazy river. Like, this is the closing, and the lazy river is what everyone can be doing next. I am seriously, after this afternoon, I'm grabbing my bathers, I'm grabbing a bevy, and I am like floating down that lazy river. That's my plan.
Oh, okay. So, that was a little Australian slang there. Australian English is far more colorful than American English. That's colorful with 2 U's, by the way. So say that again.
I'm going to grab my bathers.
When?
The Savo, with a bevy, and I'm going floating down the river.
Okay, so last time I was in Australia, I learned a little bit of slang myself. So I was talking to a couple of sheep shaggers, and we were throwing back some coalies. And we grabbed a slab of roadies, and the next thing you knew, I was doing the Technicolor yawn. And it's so easy to make friends there. They called me a wacka, and I just know that means they really liked me.
Well, a wacka is a term I would say to a friend. So it does mean that they like you, but it's kind of like you're a silly idiot. So yeah, it is a term of endearment.
I knew it was, yeah. I was quite sure. Well, as usual, there was a lot of goodness here at Fusion. 2018 was no exception. Now, Jack, you've been to Fusion many times. Do you have a favorite?
Can I have more than one?
You can have more than one.
So I've been to Fusion 6 times. This is a bit lame, but I loved going to Orlando because there was Harry Potter World. That was the best. But I also love when we were in Nashville, the music that we had at the function was really good, but also just the music, amazing. And probably the best, nothing kind of beats driving to the JFK Museum with a police escort. My husband was with me and he was just blown away. He loved it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I do have a lot of favorites of my own, like most of them, actually. But San Diego always stands out. That was 2012. It was my first one as an employee after going to several as a customer. And, of course, I just love San Diego. I even lived there for a little while because I loved it so much. But my very first one was when we hosted this conference in Duluth, Minnesota. Can you imagine that? Yeah, we had busloads of people coming from universities into Duluth, and they were like going, what are we going to Duluth, Minnesota for? And then it turns out that they loved it. And so that was my very first one, and I pretty much loved them all since. So, Jack, what has inspired you this year about Fusion?
Well, you guys, obviously. I mean, every time I come here, I love listening to everyone. The keynotes, Alex and George, amazing. John, inspiring as well. Sean was trying to egg me on to stand up and give a standing ovation to John yesterday morning. We loved it, it was great. But I think we've had this really big focus on professional development in the last 2 days, and I went to this session yesterday afternoon from the Higher Education Academy that's really focusing on, I guess, putting teachers on a pedestal and highlighting the work that they do. And I know this is something, if you've been to Fusion before, that D2L does all the time. Like, teachers are the center. But it was just so great to go to a presentation where they were saying there's 110,000 HEA fellows and how important teaching was, and to see that globally kind of trickling down. So yeah, that was my favorite thing.
Awesome. Well, I was inspired. I had so many things to do. I didn't get to go to as many sessions as I usually do, and as much as I really like to do, because I love to learn this stuff still. But first of all, this facility, forget about the morning apology just for a second, but this facility has actually been a fabulous place to hold the conference, and their staff has really been just on top of everything we've been trying to do, you know, with just one little problem. But everything else was so, so good. So if we could give a D2L clap to the Marriott, please. And I work all year long with a really dedicated staff of D2L employees. The events team and the events team writ large, because it's not just those who have events in their title. We work on this really hard, really long, and they crash and burn when this thing is over with, because they put in so much time and effort. So to all the D2L staffers, how about a D2L clap? All right. So here are a few tweets from some of our attendees about what inspired them. Bree Perkins talks about 3 important things about online learning: presence, presence, and more presence. Which, of course, I read that and I'm thinking business, you know, location, location, location. And it's kind of the same thing, but it's the location of that instructor and their personality and having that presence in the courses. And gives a couple of examples of how that can happen. I think that's just awesome. Good tweet, Bree. Let's give Bree a D2L clap. Tom Tobin. Tom speaks in hashtags, and so, you know, you might have a little bit of a hard time getting through everything he has there, but he's passionate about universal design for learning, passionate about accessibility, as well as he has several other passions related to online learning as well. But in this tweet, he's really talking about a lot of the learning that's going on here to increase instructor presence and student engagement by making courses more accessible. And I really love the one hashtag that's in there: reach everyone, teach everyone. I think that really is powerful. And so let's give Tom the D2L clap.
Stephanie from Tennessee is talking about student engagement and how important teacher presence is. And Chelsea, she is also bringing up teacher presence and actually highlighting just how hard it actually is to do well. And I agree, it really is hard, but the reward that you get from good teacher presence is really worth it.
All right, Jack, so let's talk about how you build your instructor presence.
Well, Barry and I'm going to bring this one up first because we're kindred spirits when it comes to intelligent agents. I can never talk about it too much. I think we're both crazy.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, what's your favorite one that you use?
Well, almost as bad as Fusion. What's my favorite intelligent agent? All right, well, I can't. So I have a couple of angles anyway. One is I really like to use intelligent agents that are going to just send me information. Not necessarily something that goes directly to students, but something that sends me a heads up, a notification that I can't otherwise get throughout the system. So a certain activity happened, didn't happen, whatever it is, that notification comes to me, then I'd figure out what do I want to do about it. Sometimes I do something, and sometimes I don't. But I also really like, you know, once we added the not release conditions, which was almost 2 years ago now, D2L clap. I like to have the multiple release conditions so I can see where students are supposed to do a series of things and they've done some but not all. So maybe they've done one thing and not another. That can be really useful information for me.
Yeah, I love those ones. I've got 1,500 students actually right now. It's week 3 back home. And so anything that makes my job more efficient is definitely a plus. But some of the ones that I love are the ones where you are reaching out to students and sending them a message, maybe say based on grades. So for example, if they get a high grade, we send them out a message, often with something a little bit lame, like a stamp or a funny picture. We also try and connect with the students who are not doing so well, always with the expectation that they can still succeed. But probably my favorite one is the one with that we track mid-tier students. So those are these students that, you know, they're doing the best work they can possibly do, but their best work is not a high distinction, it's like a 60 or something. So what we do is we use intelligent agents to see them if they improve over time. And if they do, we send them a message that says, hey, you know what? We noticed that you did better this time and you should be really proud of that effort. That is one of my favorite ones that we do.
Great. So give us another example of a way that you build your presence.
Audio feedback. So 1,500 students, I literally never see some of these people at all. So we give audio feedback on all of our assessment, and it's so nice to, you know, have someone talk to you about your piece of work. It's very personalized. In a semester, we would return 4,000 audio files to students about their work over, because they have 3 assessment pieces. And we constantly consistently get high scores for student satisfaction on, you know, the feedback was meaningful, often around the mid-90s.
I bet you do more, don't you?
There are so many things. I mean, when we first moved to Brightspace, I was like a little kid in a candy shop. I pressed every single button to try and use everything. One that I think is really underutilized is checklists. I know quite a few probably think, oh, checklists, I can't track what the student's doing. Who knows if they're actually doing what I'm saying and ticking it off. But checklists are awesome. They're really for the student. It's not about you whatsoever. We do a weekly video every week with a checklist that's attached to it. And that checklist links them to the readings, the resources, the lecture they have to watch, whatever it might be. And it's really for it's like their little roadmap for success. And we get so many comments from students saying how useful it is.
All right, so let's bring it back to the theme for Fusion, inspired by you.
Yeah, so I hope I'm not going to make him too embarrassed, John Baker, but when Barry asked me who inspires me, one of the people is John Baker. I've been to 6 Fusions, we've had 6 Asian Pacific Ignite conferences. John has talked at every single one, and if you're new to Fusion, what you saw yesterday with John, that passion, that is what he's like all the time. Ever since I've ever met him, he really cares about education, and that inspires me. I think this morning Cheryl was talking about special sauce.
Secret sauce.
Secret sauce, and I thought, yeah, like customers are secret sauce, but John also is a bit of D2L's secret sauce. I think he really helps to make the whole company produce good products, so thank you.
All right, so I think that is a great, oh, you know what? I heard that. Let's give John Baker the D2L clap. All right, this seems like a great place to bring down the curtain, but before we do, we have a couple of quick announcements. So some of you are probably wondering, where was that hidden moose, right? Well, now that the challenge is over, go ahead, you know, if you know where the hidden moose was, if you found it, go ahead and yell it out. Yeah, it was on the pillar that said exhibit hall, right? And that was something that kept...
It was hard if they missed it. It was like this big.
Yeah.
It was hard.
Well, it wouldn't be too hidden if it was easy to find, right? All right, so is anybody still wondering who the parent and child D2Lers are? Or did everybody figure it out? Yeah, our father and son photography team, one of them is sitting right up here, Dan Congdon and his son Peter. We'll give them a D2L clap. All right. I don't know if she is here, but this is our 15th Fusion, and we have somebody who's been to every one of them. 15-time attendee, and quite frankly, I had no idea that was the case. So, from a small school in Minnesota, Northland Community and Technical College, Carlene, are you here? Where are you?
It's just like, yes, I'm hiding.
Stand up, Carlene. Yay! All right. Way to go. Are you coming again next year? Yeah, no. Well, you'll have more information in just a second. So last couple of things. We had the training team was giving away a drawing for 3 different enrollments in the Brightspace Teaching and Learning Certificate Program. So here are the winning people, the people who were drawn out. From Calgary Catholic, Jenny Chen. Woo! All right, we'll get back. So we're going to do a D2L clap on the rest of them because that's just weird to do it that other way. From Gwinnett County Public Schools, Natalie Cannell. And from Bloomsburg University in Pennsylvania, Chaya Merrill. And last but not least, the platinum winner in the challenge. And there was a tie, a log jam at the top of, I don't know for sure, but over 10 people who got every point available. And so they had to break the tie, and I don't know how they do that, don't blame me. And the winner is Denise Smith, York Technical College. All right, so Jack and I are going to depart, and then they'll play a little video telling you about Fusion 2019. Enjoy the rest of your time here in Houston. We hope to see you again next year.
And let's see where we're going.